This is In the Know for Wednesday, September 23, the 267th day of 2020. There are 99 days left in the year. Good morning, MB, guiding you through In the Know at K105 on Litchfield's Country Station 1039 The Moose. Live online at K105.com via the Apple and Android smartphone app using the SoundCloud or iTunes podcast. On Facebook Watch, on YouTube Live, on Periscope, and the hashtag is In the Know. Coming up today, we update you on the latest news headlines from around the community, the county, the Commonwealth, and the country. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, will lie in repose and will also be at the Supreme Court building this morning and in the Capitol Rotunda. Talk about that. Louisville continue to brace during a state of emergency pending the outcome of the Breonna Taylor investigation. That and a whole lot more coming up today here on In the Know. Settling into my left, rolling Mach 9 with her hair on fire. He is my beautiful wife, the beautiful girl. It's Beach. Good morning, sweetheart.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
Doing well. Have you had anything? Have you had any water to drink this morning?
If you count what was left from the ice cubes and my ginger ale on the way from Memos, yes.
So that kind of counts.
Yeah.
Nothing else water-based, though you have tea quite often, and that's water-based.
I have tea in front of me.
If you're in a bad mood, drink some water. Mild dehydration has been shown to negatively affect the mood of healthy women, according to a new study. Can you believe something just as simple as mild dehydration would make you in a bad mood?
Yeah, I can believe that.
I can see that. It's good to have water. Water. Everybody needs water. She's the pride of Pumpkin Center, the heiress to the great mini burger fortune. She's Vera Wang's arch nemesis and the professional bargain hunter's woman of the year. She's Misty Embry Thomas. Hey. How's Misty?
I'm well. How are you?
Not too bad. Now I know I need to drink more water. Does water and coffee count?
It has to. Well, I don't know. Coffee's a diuretic, but here's why I think it puts you in a bad mood. So a hangover is dehydration, which is the worst headache ever. Mm-hmm. Not that I would know. But it is dehydration, like gives you a headache. That puts you in a bad mood, right?
I can see that.
Yeah.
I read a headline this morning that we can all, we here in the building can connect with. There's a legend in our building that the computers don't work on Thursday.
There is a conspiracy theory.
And it goes back a long time. It goes back a decade or more. It goes all the way back to
the first plugged-in computer.
It goes even back to Sam Eagle.
I was going to say
is
Sam
that
Eagle.
He always said that computers don't work here on Thursday for whatever reason, and I'll tell you that was long since dismissed. Like, yeah, whatever. But I'll tell you, there are some times, and I go, computer's not working today.
Sam Eagle been here.
I'm looking to think, is it a backup? Like, is there a big defrag happening on the network? Is there, like, what is happening that could lead to sluggishness on Thursdays?
Right.
An entire village in Wales, over in the United Kingdom, an entire village in Wales lost its broadband internet at the same time every day for 18 months. So the entire town at the same time every day, let's say at 4:10.
Yeah.
Because we know what happens at 4:20. So we'll say at 4:10, then we'll say the internet goes out, which, all right, take a break from the internet.
Right.
But a crack team of engineers turned detectives finally found out that there was an old time television set which was causing interference near the main hub of the community's internet router, and it was interfering with the system, and then it was disrupting everyone's internet connection. So that led me to think that we might have a neighbor with an old electric razor. Right. That on Thursdays he decides to shave, and when he decides to shave, then it throws all of our computers into a fit.
But every day at the same time, somebody was watching the same show religiously. Mm-hmm. Did that person kick the bucket, or did the TV kick the bucket?
No, I think they just finally, they used a scope and they did some meters and finally said, where is this happening? They pinpointed it, and then finally, so So
Wowza.
neighbors, please wait until Saturday to shave. That's all I know to ask. Clouds hover overhead today, but rain chances remain low. Just because you awoke to clouds, don't get excited. It doesn't necessarily mean rain. Certainly not today. Minor rain chance through the weekend. We'll see partly sunny and 76 today, mostly cloudy, 60 tonight. Mostly cloudy, 20% chance of rain, and 74 for tomorrow. That's what we're looking at. The casket of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg will be arriving shortly in Washington, D.C. today, where there will be a private ceremony held inside the building there at the Supreme Court for family and staff members, and then will be moved out to the top of the steps at the Supreme Court building for public viewing. There'll be social distancing, and they'll be queuing up. People are already waiting for that to be able to go through and pay their respects. And then she will be moved across the street and will become the first woman to lie in repose in the Capitol Rotunda in the U.S. Capitol building, which I thought, well, that makes sense. I just would have assumed
Very symbolic for her life.
that's exactly right. I guess I would have assumed that she wasn't going, that there would have been a woman prior to now, but now that I'm going, well, who would it have been?
Yeah.
And so that is, that's quite a milestone and quite fitting. And then they'll have the final private service on Saturday at Arlington. That's where her husband Marty is already buried, and she will be entombed at Arlington National Cemetery. President Trump is set to announce his nominee to fill the vacancy on the court. He says that he will do that on Saturday, as we talked a little bit about yesterday, and the timeline of that. I did hear Mitt Romney was one of those outliers that you often wonder is where will Mitt Romney fall, because he caucuses with the Republicans, but he and President Trump have been at odds over various things. But Senator Romney said yesterday that he's ready to take a vote. He's ready to participate in the process. The nomination should occur, and he should. And he will not line up opposite his party in that regard. So you only need a simple majority, and it looks like along party lines it's lining up 53-47. Lindsey Graham, who's in a tough race in South Carolina, says he's ready to go. He thinks he thinks this move might solidify his base and help him on Election Day. I did see Leader McConnell say yesterday, Leader McConnell rarely gets tripped up by a question, or he's usually very good at staying on message. And I may just be splitting hairs a little bit, but one of the things, I'll go back to Monday, I've been looking for what's appropriate in this case. I know as a person, politically and as a conservative, I know what I want. I want to see another conservative justice on the Supreme Court. I know that's what I want. But considering our recent history as an American, what's more appropriate based upon what happened in 2016 and et cetera? It's a complicated issue. But one of the things that I heard him field a question about yesterday was he said, well, we have an obligation if we choose to pursue it. And rarely will you hear him in conflict or contradict himself, because if it is an obligation, then it is not an opportunity. Right. It's either an opportunity or it's an obligation. It can't be both. Right. And so maybe it was just a complete, he grabbed the wrong word. Lord knows I've done it a million times. But if you're gonna stand pat on the obligation aspect of it, then you need to play that to its end rather than looking like it's political opportunism. And so it can be criticized. President Trump we introduced you yesterday to Judge Amy Coney Barrett, 48 years of age. She's a U.S. Court of Appeals judge on the 7th Circuit. And so she's seemingly the front runner. But to introduce you to another shortlist candidate, Kate Comerford Todd is a deputy White House counsel helping navigate President Trump's White House through a thicket of legal issues. She's 45. And by some of her peers says she is absolutely brilliant. So we shouldn't just settle on one name, but use it as an opportunity to focus on the shortlist candidates, of which President Trump has been very clear from the beginning that it would be a woman who would fill that seat. So we know what at least the short list looks
Well,
like.
we went over a list last week where Daniel Cameron was, 20th on the list?
Well, he was in a list of 20.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that there was an order of preference.
Gotcha.
President Trump just issued a list of 20 and said, here's who they are, and Daniel Cameron was one of those. Governor Beshear yesterday continued his update, 824 new cases of coronavirus. 134 of the new cases are children. So I told you last week when, the governor was trying to make a case that it's people under the age of 18, that was hovering in the 10% range. But now we're of the 824, then your percentage of people under the 18 is closer to 1 in 4. And when you get into that 25% range, then I think that it starts to tell more of a tale. I would like to look at that 18 and under total over an aggregate of days rather than on one isolated incident. 7 new deaths, bringing our death toll to 1,119. He did lament that we've crossed 200,000 deaths in the United States during the pandemic. Currently 511 patients hospitalized. 133 people are currently in ICU, which that number is up. Nearly, 15, I think, from the last time we talked about it. We had gotten down to 118 on ICU. We're at 1.14 tests per million tests performed. The million is an important word in that number. 1.14 and 1.14 million are slightly different in numerical value. In case you didn't go to math class. The Grayson County Health Department said yesterday that 13 new cases of the virus have been confirmed in the county since the last update on Thursday. Mm-hmm. That brings us to 390. Officials said 72 people are isolated or active cases. 1 is hospitalized. 301 recoveries locally. The county has had now 201 cases in the last 47 days. So we've gone 6.5 months, and our number we thought was relatively low. There was a period of time when Grayson County's numbers were limited to long-term healthcare facilities, but just in the last less than 50 days, 50%, more than 50% of our cases have arrived. And I'm just not sure what that means, not sure what we should do about it. There were 2 new deaths reported yesterday, raising the county death toll to 17, but they did add that 3 deaths are being reviewed by the state to confirm that they were caused by COVID-19. When you look at us compared to our neighbors, we are ranking 5th on cases per capita. It seems Breckinridge County doing the best per capita at 1 case per 170 residents. All the way to the other end of the spectrum, Butler County has 1 case per 39 residents. Grayson County, for every 57, we'll round down to 69 residents. For every 69 residents in Grayson County, we have 1 case of COVID-19. So Breck County the best, Butler County the worst on mitigating the pandemic. So Louisville continues to brace. As we talked about yesterday, when they start boarding up windows and declaring a state of emergency and establishing roadblocks, you're having to show ID to get into a quadrant of downtown Louisville. You're also having to show ID to get out of a quadrant of downtown Louisville. And Attorney General Daniel Cameron will not say exactly when an announcement will be made, but we have to think it's today or tomorrow. The Louisville Police Department canceled leave, canceled vacations. It's all hands on deck. And again, as we touched yesterday, this has to be posturing for what protesters, the people who have been protesting for social justice, for Breonna Taylor and others, are going to hear as negative news, or we wouldn't be spending all of the man hours to protect the assets of the city of Louisville. You can't convince me that someone doesn't know or hasn't been telegraphing a signal saying, get ready. Mm-hmm. Now, you've got people in Louisville that are saying, why go to all this trouble? You're just presuming people are going to riot and loot when the majority of these protests have been peaceful. Indeed, the majority of them have been. But because of, even Governor Beshear says, because of the national attention that this story is getting, that this situation is getting. There are going to be what people would call paid agitators or agitators nationally who will be on whatever mode of transportation they can get on to show up in Jefferson County, Kentucky, and raise a stink. That's who's being prepared for the arrival. It's not Louisvillians. So it's going to be a tense situation. Now, you've got an interim police chief in Louisville. You've got a mayor who received a vote of no confidence from Metro Council last week. You have a Republican attorney general. You have a Democratic governor who generally are playing nice. This is a lot to sort out, and I have to think they want this to not spill into the weekend. I can't imagine they want to do this on Friday afternoon at 2:00.
That's what I was thinking.
And what's going to happen all weekend. So don't we feel like this news has to, whatever the news is, doesn't it probably have to be announced today?
Should have been probably announced Monday. If you're looking for when people are at work and just a calmer, I'm with you. I wouldn't think you would want to release that news on the weekend when everybody's off of work, has the time to really, if they're looking to cause trouble, they have the time to cause trouble.
I also think the earlier in the day that you do it, the better. The earlier in the week, the earlier in the day, the protection to the city of Louisville is better done in daylight hours than in the cover of darkness that people can instigate and loot and riot. So I just the thing that people are going to completely miss is that this has gone through the scrutiny of a grand jury. There have been multiple investigations, and the case has been presented to a grand jury, and the grand jury decides whether charges are filed or not against the officers that are involved. It's not Daniel Cameron.
Right.
It's not Andy Bashir. It's a grand jury of citizens in Jefferson County, Kentucky, deciding whether to indict on charges or not.
Right.
Based upon perhaps maybe one of the most expensive investigations in the history of Kentucky. Of all the various people and all the data points that you have to look at. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the coming days. And I just think that common sense says that it has to be today, and certainly tomorrow at the latest. A bill to have sexual harassment and discrimination added to what could be considered ethical misconduct was discussed by a legislative committee yesterday. Representative Kim Moser from Taylor Mill is proposing the legislation which would allow written complaints to be filed with the Legislative Ethics Commission against a lawmaker or lobbyist by legislative employees or other legislators and lobbyists, and defines what constitute the offenses. Over the last couple of years, I think many of us were surprised to learn that this already wasn't covered in a code of conduct or in an ethics situation. That sexual harassment, which is, has been, part of the landscape of corporate America for a very long time, that it wasn't covered for legislators in Kentucky state government.
How does that even happen? How did they?
That's a very good question. Kentucky getting a reimbursement due to COVID-19 of $43 million to the pension system. So kind of interesting the way this is working. The Kentucky retirement system, of course, pays health insurance premiums in the form of insurance premiums to, let's say, Humana. And they base this figure every year that it's tied to what likely services rendered are. So we think we're going to provide this much health care to your retirees. You owe us this much money. So Humana said, we really haven't done anything this year. You locked all your retirees at home for 60, 90 days, and then you've told them to stay home after that. So they aren't making doctor's appointments, and they aren't scheduling procedures, and they aren't. And so Humana says, here's your $43 million back.
Wow.
Let's try again this year. So it's kind of interesting the way that it all worked out.
Right.
The Belmont winner, Tiz the Law, who was the Derby favorite, won't run in the Preakness. And Terry Wilson says he is locked in and ready to go in the opener at Auburn this weekend, and told you yesterday that U of L has shoved back. They've denied the allegations that the NCAA has made. I think I told you their defense was nuh-uh. But more specifics today. Rick Pitino, this is interesting. U of L fired Rick Pitino for wrongdoing over these allegations, but now they're having to defend him to the NCAA to get themselves out of trouble. So they're kind of going, well, we fired him. But he's not a bad guy, so we shouldn't get in trouble. And then also, Adidas and U of L are turning on one another. They're saying we didn't do it. Adidas is saying, yeah, we did do it.
Yeah, they called and said I had to check my kicks at the door. I didn't know what that was about.
Now you know.
Yeah, now
You got to get to a break. Got plenty more on the way. Hang around here on In the Know.
It turns out there is, in fact, one surefire way to avoid finishing your hot and salty fries on the way back from the McDonald's drive-thru. And that way would be getting an extra order for mealtime only. Imagine it. Every McDonald's fry accounted for as you're starting your meal.
Now at McDonald's, bundle a McDouble and small fries, or a 6-piece chicken McNuggets and small fries for just $3. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with combo meal.
Expert care, high technology, hometown kindness. That's Twin Lakes Regional Medical Center. Here's Dr. Gregory Koo on integrative healthcare.
Integrative is basically you mix holistic medicine with modern medicine. I was the director of this holistic integrative center, but I did acupuncture, and I did that my entire career alongside of family medicine, and the results are just unbelievable.
To schedule an appointment with Dr. Koo, call 270-879-3711. Twin Lakes Regional Medical Center. Your home, your health.
Look around your home, and there's probably something that was made right here in Litchfield. Leggett & Platt is a worldwide corporation making a wide range of products, including sofa sleeper and reclining hardware assemblies here at home. A portion of your Ashley, Lazy Boy, or England furniture might have been made by one of your neighbors. Join the Leggett & Platt team today. We're a one-shift operation with competitive wages, incentive pay, benefits at 90 days, and a discount stock program offering after 6 months. Applications for production trainees are available in the front lobby with a convenient drop box. So stop by the office at 435 at Embry Drive and start your path to a career with Leggett & Platt. We need 30 new trainees immediately. So join the team where our motto is, we work hard so you can rest easy. Leggett & Platt is an equal opportunity, affirmative action, veteran and disability employer.
Hi everyone, Ron Lehman with Wilson & Mira Bank. Did you finance your home with an adjustable rate mortgage? Fixed rate loans are at their lowest levels in 3 years and near record lows in history. It's time to get your rate locked in now. Don't let this opportunity to save big pass you by. Call me today at Wilson Mira Bank or visit us online at wilsonmirabank.com.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC, NMLS 403246.
Quality paves the way. That's the motto of Scotty's Contracting in Stone. All of the crushed stone products from Scotty's quarry in Litchfield are mined underground. Scotty's Contracting and Paving provides cleaner products made from pure limestone. If you agree that quality makes the difference, contact the team at Scotty's Contracting in Stone for crushed stone products for your project at 259-5696. That's 259-5696. Our quarry is located on Quarry Road in Litchfield.
Microsoft is buying ZeniMax, parent company of Bethesda Softworks, in a massive $7.5 billion deal. The video game company manages storied franchises like Doom, The Elder Scrolls, and Fallout. The merger aims to boost Microsoft's Xbox business side. The deal is set to close by mid-next year if regulatory approvals pull through. TikTok says there was a coordinated effort to share a video of a man committing suicide. The director of government relations and public policy at TikTok Europe said on Tuesday that groups on the dark web made plans to spread the video across various platforms, including TikTok. He said the groups were editing the video in different ways to make it harder to track. And it appears Amazon's major shopping event is coming in the next few weeks. The Verge reporting that the retail giant will hold Prime Day on October 13th and 14th. An official announcement is expected to be made this Sunday. Amazon had pushed back the popular discount days because of the coronavirus pandemic. Tech Update, Mark Mayfield.
Today is Restless Leg Awareness Day.
Oh, dear.
I have pinpointed some reasons for restless leg that people need to know about.
The dehydration?
No, melatonin.
Potassium is a big contributor.
Yeah, melatonin gives me restless leg, so I had to stop using it.
It's the
I've
Jimmy
had
leg.
Yeah,
I've
it
had
is.
it.
It's exhausting. It's
I
so
developed
frustrating.
it when I was pregnant with Anna.
Yeah.
I had not had it before, but yeah, it is no fun.
Thanks to Kramer, we call it the Jimmy leg.
Mm-hmm.
International Day of Sign Languages today. And it is Checkers Day today. Also known as Dogs in Politics Day. Not the game Checkers. This is the anniversary that President Nixon gave his famous Checkers speech about their dog. And so that kind of launched into, you've had some famous White House dogs, some first dogs.
Yeah.
And so that's why they call it Checkers Day
What's
today.
Obama's dog name? Sophie sound familiar. Or was that one of the daughters?
I can't remember. I don't remember. I don't
Was he
really
a
remember
Labradoodle?
all of them at the
Pretty?
moment.
All I can remember are the dogs from the campaign.
Oh, yeah.
The
yeah,
pugs.
Those are the best
Pugs.
dogs.
And then, you turned in. You got to get rid of those pugs. Those communist dogs. Did learn during the break that just late this morning, they have decided an announcement on the Breonna Taylor investigation and grand jury presentation will be announced at 1:30 Eastern time today. So 1:30 in Eastern time, 12:30 Central time today. So trying to get it early afternoon, middle of the week. So guess be prepared for the things that are going to happen. I was reminiscing yesterday about things that sometimes I feel young, sometimes I feel old. Mm-hmm. At 49, I think I do know one thing. I'm as young as I'm ever going to be.
Mm-hmm. That's a good revelation.
Yeah, I know it's hard to. I'll help you do the math if you don't know how to do that. But realize that sometimes you'll hear me talk to the kids. And the kids aren't the 5 and 6 year olds. The kids are the 25-year-olds now for me.
Yeah.
And I feel some level of responsibility to share all this data that I've accumulated over the years with the kids.
This is quantitative
Yes.
or qualitative?
So, for instance,
Like the Uncle Mark segment.
yes,
Okay.
yeah,
It's all of it. It's all the things.
gather around, campfire. Because if I don't share this with you, this knowledge is going to evaporate. Because in many ways, we're the last generation for certain things. Some of us are technologically oriented, but others of us just forget it. And then once we're gone, you won't remember an analog world.
You're kind of like Solomon 2.0, really. Close. You're getting there.
I'm banking up more wisdom all the time. I was just thinking about it the other day. There was a period of time when we were no longer using the Atlas, but we weren't using built-in GPS, and we had to print directions out from MapQuest. See, you kids don't know that.
I remember that. I remember the printing the map.
You had to print before you went on a trip, and you said, I am technologically advanced. I'm no longer using one of those fold-up maps, and I'm not using an atlas from Rand McNally anymore. I'm not spending the $12 on a Rand McNally atlas. I'm just going to print as I go. And then you had to print out. It was on 5 sheets of paper, turn by turn, if you needed to go from here to Lexington.
It just dawned on me, though, how many gas station attendants today don't really understand the full responsibilities of gas station attendants in the 80s and 90s, because you had to know how to get everybody off the exit around your town.
But you and I have traveled together.
Yeah,
and
she still prints.
Yes, I have the printouts. But you still ask me questions, right? But I have the printouts.
She prints, she pulls it up on her phone, and she pulls it up on the GPS in her vehicle.
I am challenged.
Well, it's good to have backups, I suppose.
We have lots of backups.
I am the son of an Air Force navigator. I have always been blessed with pretty good directionality, save one instant that I'll tell you about some other day. But when we would go on family road trips, I enjoyed thumbing through the atlas. I liked the Rand McNally Atlas. You could turn it open.
Weirdo.
You could say, here's Kentucky. You had little blow-ups in the corners for Louisville
Yep,
and Lexington
yep,
and Bowling Green
yep.
where you needed a more scoped view. See, kids, you all don't know that's how we used to do it. But but in between the Rand McNally map and just telling Siri where to take you, we had to print them out.
Yep.
And MapQuest was the extent of it. Children, we used to have to, if you wanted to watch a VCR tape, you had to put your TV on channel 3.
That is true.
I totally forgot.
But you did. I mean,
Yes.
there have been times at home that someone has inadvertently pushed a button on a remote.
Sure.
I'm like, do I need to take the TV back to 3?
Right. Is that a hard
Like, is
reset?
it?
There
Channel
was a
3?
toggle switch. You put an adapter on the
Yeah.
back of your
Yeah.
cable input,
Yep.
and
Yep.
you had to turn
Yes.
to channel 3, and you flipped it. So was
It's
it
my
VCR
job to
or
flip
was it?
that thing. Like, Miss T, go
That's
get
right.
up and flip the
it-
thing so
flip
we
it
can
back
watch
to
the tape.
TV. That's right. Many of you don't know that when you used to send a text message, you had to hit the button 3 times to get the letter you wanted.
Yes.
And I was the queen of that. Man, I knew. Like,
I was pretty fast,
Yeah.
I think.
There used to be there was no QWERTY keyboard on your phone.
No.
I was
So you
upset
had
when it went
go
to QWERTY keyboard.
1 2 3 ABC.
Yeah.
Exclamation point slash period.
Yeah, she mastered that first. So I was like, no, take me back to the numbers. Like, I know the number system. Like, I know how many taps.
I can still do it, I think.
It'd be interesting to
There
try.
was a time not too far in the distant past that if you wanted to be on the internet, you had to go sit in front of a computer.
Yeah.
It really hasn't been that long ago.
No.
That to be online, on the line, you had to go sit down in front of a box as big as a washing machine
Yes.
So true.
Our set beside
with
the
a
washing
screen no bigger than your face.
machine. Right.
Now my iPad's as big as my face.
But it was as deep as your room.
Yeah,
Right?
pretty
Like
much.
the monitor
You had
was
to-
this deep
You had to add on a camper slide out.
to take your monitor.
I remember the day that we had to throw all those old monitors away. We had to carry them out of the building, and I thought, these things weigh 53 pounds each.
We still have a couple upstairs because we don't want to pack them out yet. Like, what do you do with those? Can you put them in
Sure.
the garbage?
We used to have binders full of CDs of music in the back seat of our car.
We may still have, even though my car, this is the first car I have that doesn't have a CD player.
Yeah, I don't have a
Okay,
CD
well,
player.
mine are not in my car, but I still have the
I sti-
binder.
Yes,
Oh, I
still
have
the
binders,
binder.
but I just
In fact,
they don't serve any purpose.
I still have the cases of cassette tapes I kept in my car.
Really?
Yes, Elijah has them. He loves my cassette tape.
We used to take photos, kids. I know you don't know
Mm-hmm.
this, but we used to take photos and would have to wait 3 weeks to know how it turned out.
And then we ordered doubles just in case they were good.
To share with friends, right?
The best was when your negative came on a printed card so you could see the mini version instead of holding it up to the light, the negative to
Oh,
see.
and that was a technological advancement. When they gave you the little cue
Yes,
sheet,
yes.
you know, like you're talking about the little small miniature thumbnails.
With the
You thought,
numbers,
wow,
you could
we're
order
really getting
reprints.
somewhere now. Yeah, you don't need an X-ray
No.
machine. You don't need, that X-ray reader at the
Yeah.
doctor's office to see what your pictures look like.
We're really getting somewhere now. I tell you where we got somewhere is when you no longer had to have a flash cube. Because if you weren't out of film, but your flash cube didn't work,
Remember, and you had to turn the
so
flash
that's
cube.
something I don't know about.
And
you don't know
click.
about flash cubes?
No. That's something, sorry.
Yeah.
I must have missed that by a minute.
Oh, you had to buy film and a flash cube and batteries to make your little camera work.
Oh, kids, I also remember my first selfie. My very first selfie.
Do you still have it?
Yes, I do
still have
have it.
mine.
I have my very first selfie. You can't tell it's me, but I know that it's me. Because the flash cube on the Polaroid camera I took in
I've
the
heard
mirror. You can't see my
yeah.
face because of the flash, but you can tell my White Mills Christian Camp shirt, blue in color, and I'm standing there because Hub and Mary Lynn got me a Polaroid camera for my birthday.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a picture of myself in
Right.
the mirror. Yeah, well, that didn't work out so well.
Yeah, well, you
But-
tried. Lesson learned. It was a very expensive lesson learned with the Polaroid camera.
But see, there are people in this building who we just shared information with that are going,
What?
you all really?
Let me tell you
all
another
did
one.
that?
You did not own. You are not a real cell phone owner unless you know this phrase. Hello, Moto.
Hello, Moto. Exactly. Yeah.
If you know that phrase, then you are on the cutting edge of society because you were the first.
All right.
Right?
So the truth.
A couple other things we got to get to this segment. So we know what the COVID has done to a lot of industries, but one that I have failed to appreciate are popcorn farmers. Popcorn farmers are sitting on a stockpile of popcorn that you wouldn't believe because no Disney World, no movie theaters, no theme parks, no the places that buy the most popcorn haven't bought any popcorn since March.
My stepdad grew popcorn one year. I mean, like probably 15, 20 years ago. Yeah, I remember thinking there's a certain corn for popcorn. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. And then we are having quite a dilemma this morning in the Buckles household because as if you've been with the show for a while, you know that in the last couple of years, we've become big Legoers. We didn't used to be Legos. The two older children didn't like Legos, but the baby loves Legos. And so I've developed a bit of a Lego habit.
Well, and to be clear, you and I both enjoyed as children.
I'll tell you, it's cheaper to smoke.
No, I never Legoed.
Oh, I did.
No,
Okay.
I didn't ever
So
Lego
I
as a kid. No. Yes,
I
it is.
Duplowed once,
It
but
is.
it
At least
wasn't
it's
the same.
cheaper. It's cheaper to smoke in the short run. In the long run, I'm not so sure.
In the short rows, get a pack of smokes and go outside.
But worlds colliding here because we're also on the record that the baby, our baby, doesn't like Baby Yoda. So I'm a major Star Wars fan, love The Mandalorian, but our baby doesn't like the Baby Yoda.
Right.
Oh, yeah. She hates it.
Yeah. But now Legos have come out with a Baby Yoda Lego set.
Oh, will this get her on board?
First thing I did, I went running to her this morning, said, no, Alea, know how we love Legos? Yeah. Well, there's a new Lego set out about Baby Yoda. Do we want it or do we not want it? She said, do we not want it?
Not did.
She said,
It's a no-go.
do we not want it?
Do we not?
It's where she draws the line. Loves Legos, but no Baby Yoda must be involved. So
Yep, I understand.
I guess I'm out of luck. Got to get to a break. Today's Did You Know? Plenty more on the way here on In the Know.
Hi, I'm Samara Heverin, running for re-election as your state representative. Last year, you put your trust in me, and I fought hard for our families in Grayson and Hardin counties, receiving GLI's Most Valuable Policymaker Award. I'm a conservative Republican. I'm endorsed by Kentucky Right to Life and the NRA. I'm pro-religious liberty, and I support our local police. Again, I'm Samara Heverin, and I hope I can count on your vote on or before November 3rd.
Paid for by Samara Heverin for State Representative.
Hello, I'm Kevin Henderson, Grayson County Judge Executive. You don't need to be an inventor, a scientist, or a judge executive to shape the future of your community. You just need to be someone who cares about your community. By being counted in the 2020 census, you will help inform funding for local school programs, emergency services, and roads in our community. We all count. Shape your future. Start here. Visit 2020census.gov.
Amy McGrath would help Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren pass a government takeover of healthcare. Listen to McGrath admitting it.
My opinion, single payer is the way to go.
The McGrath Single Payer Plan is socialized health insurance, banning employer and union-provided coverage, costing us $32 trillion. Amy McGrath's socialized plan would double our taxes and force rural hospitals to close, destroying jobs and threatening the care of Kentucky families. Ann McGrath's plan would end Medicare as we know it, jeopardizing the health benefits seniors spent their lives earning. No wonder McGrath proudly says she's with the liberals in Washington.
Is recognize that I am further left. I am more progressive than anybody in the state of Kentucky.
Amy McGrath, too liberal for Kentucky. Keep Kentucky Great is responsible for the content of this advertising. Paid for by Keep Kentucky Great. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. KeepKentuckyGreat.com.
Look around your home, and there's probably something that was made right here in Litchfield. Leggett & Platt is a worldwide corporation making a wide range of products, including sofa sleeper and reclining hardware assemblies here at home. A portion of your Ashley, Lazy Boy, or England furniture might have been made by one of your neighbors. Join the Leggett & Platt team today. We're a one-shift operation with competitive wages, incentive pay, benefits at 90 days, and a discount stock program offering after 6 months. Applications for production trainees are available in the front lobby with a convenient drop box. So stop by the office at 435 at Embry Drive and start your path to a career with Leggett & Platt. We need 30 new trainees immediately. So join the team where our motto is, we work hard so you can rest easy. Leggett & Platt is an equal opportunity, affirmative action, veteran and disability employer.
This Saturday, Coach Stoops and the Cats kick off their season against a top 10 SEC West foe. Look out! The Auburn Tigers and your Kentucky Wildcats.
Touchdown, Kentucky! The Cats on K105 are brought to you by Future Designs Building Materials. Tune in to Countdown to Kickoff 9:30 Saturday on K105.
K105 weather is brought to you by Future Designs Building Materials on Quarry Road in Litchfield.
Twin Lakes weather. Temperature is still able to make it into the 70s this afternoon despite a mostly cloudy sky outside. Any rain chance looks to stay south of even E-Town for the afternoon hours. Maybe a sprinkle a little further north later tonight, low of 60. Then tomorrow, not much warmth here to be had. A high of about 70 with a few sprinklers, especially toward midday. The Wave 3 News Storm Tracking Team, I'm meteorologist Brian Good.
Spot Chick Billy got down on his hands and knees. He said, hey, mama, hey, let me check your oil out. She said, no, no, honey, not tonight. You come back Monday, yeah. You come back Tuesday, and then I know.
Did you know tipping is regarded as crass at restaurants in Japan?
That's interesting.
What about Japanese restaurants in the United States? 'Cause if so, I've been doing it wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. That's really
Maybe I'll get a
interesting.
reimbursement like Kentucky got from Humana.
All right.
Take this tip money back. Okay.
I hope it's $43 million for you, Mark.
Yeah, I hope so too. I've accumulated slightly less than $43 million. So Ellen apologized to the world on Monday. Tuesday, everybody got to Monday morning quarterback it and decide how they felt, but have been waiting for how the people who were actually on the receiving end of mistreatment of the Ellen sphere, maybe not her directly, but maybe the executive or the producers that got fired, etc. And by the former employees that were impacted, they say that her monologue fell flat, that it was panned. What she had to say was panned by the people who were impacted most by the Ellen drama.
Did they say what would have made them happy?
She said, not only did Ellen, one of them said, not only did Ellen turn our traumas into a joke, she somehow managed to make this about her. One person said, I don't feel sorry that she's in a load of trouble because she branded herself the be kind person. She's acting like it was something she said in passing that just stuck with her. It's not something that stuck with her. It's not an accident. She went forward with this idea and this marketing strategy that was not true behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's the hard thing. When you want to brand yourself as something, you want to be the billboard for a particular slogan, you better be a purist and you better go all the way with it.
People will look to pull. They'll
They're
find the
absolutely
rattling
looking.
and try to
Yep.
pull as hard as they can.
Yep. So, careful.
Supergirl will end with season 6 at the CW.
That's still on.
I was going to say, I can't believe it lasted that long.
Well, but 6 doesn't sound like many years. I thought
Don't you get 2 seasons a year?
well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just would have thought it seemed like more than 6 years ago that I heard that this was a show. So I guess I would have thought there were more seasons. But anyway, if you're into Supergirl, it's going by the wayside at the end of season 6. Michael Jordan is joining NASCAR as a team owner, and Bubba Wallace is going to drive for him.
Cool.
I'll be anxious to see how much success they're able to mount.
Can we please paint the car like the original Jordan shoe?
Yes.
Like it looks like a shoe on wheels,
we
like a
must
roller
do
skate,
this.
right?
Well,
That would be awesome.
Denny Hamlin is also involved in the ownership of the team. Bubba Wallace has been driving for Petty, and so kind of a new partnership created. But MJ has plenty of money. He's competitive.
Sure.
Joe Gibbs Racing. Joe Gibbs was a football coach who went on to build a very successful race team. So there's no reason that the Jordan brand can't do the same thing. I think it's wonderful.
I do
think
too.
it's going to be.
He was good at basketball and baseball. Why not NASCAR?
And he's also from North Carolina, which is, where NASCAR is centrally located. So BTS will take over the Tonight Show this week. The global K-pop superstars will kick off BTS Week, which is a week-long special on Monday. Yet again, another reason that Jimmy Fallon and I have had a falling out, because he is clearly targeting himself and his show at another demographic, not me.
You're not watching him any longer?
Nope.
Really? I didn't realize you had a falling out.
We broke up. When they came back from the pandemic, I started recording it again just to see what their structure looked like. Like, how are they handling this being back in studio? But I'm not watching any of it.
What was your breaking point?
He just wanted to be all anti-Trump all the time.
Oh.
He just wanted to follow the same suit as Conan O'Brien and Stephen Colbert. And so I'm not watching any late night shows any longer.
Gotcha.
And the pandemic has treated some people unfavorably, but others are clearly living their best life as a result of the pandemic. And Best Life Honors goes to Macklemore. You know what Macklemore looked like the last time you saw him performing, the rapper Macklemore?
You probably don't watch him a lot, but I know who he is.
Yeah.
White Walls, got it all.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Pop some tags, dude.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
He has now got the biggest stash. All right, so he's got a stash. He's
And
got
hot
a small,
rollers.
He's got a
He
small
bought some
goat,
hot rollers.
and he went to the Goodwill when he was popping some tags with $20 in his pocket and got a hot roller set.
Didn't you do Meemaw's hair like this recently?
It's
So many
looking-
things I could say about that. Yes.
It's looking good. He belongs.
Wow.
He belongs in a Quentin Tarantino movie. I'm telling you right now.
I mean, Mariah Carey hair. Mom jeans on your derriere. What?
We got to get to a break.
Awesome.
Point to ponder, pearl of wisdom, chart toppers, and more coming up here on In the Know.
One of the most common mistakes a couple can make in their marriage is to assume the worst about each other. Seeing the worst in every situation not only magnifies your spouse's every flaw, you might also make up a few. It's like the cartoon I saw that showed a husband who was clearly in trouble with his wife. He was standing there with a thought bubble over his head, and it was filled with a list of reasons for what happened and why. His wife was right beside him, reaching into his thought bubble with a marker and replacing his story with her own. According to brain studies, that cartoon isn't so far off. We tend to love story arcs with a beginning, a middle, and an end. And when your spouse's actions don't immediately make sense to you, you seek closure by filling in the gaps. We make up our own narrative to explain things to our satisfaction. The trouble is, our brains don't always get the details right. Our minds tolerate inaccuracy as long as the narrative we're feeding it feels complete. Which means you'll believe your husband is late or your wife is spending money for all kinds of bad reasons, as long as the story connects the dots in your mind. Negative assumptions are only good for one thing: stirring up conflict. Instead, stir up a little trust and respect. Assume the best about your spouse. Get out of their thought bubble and fill up your own with truth, grace, and love. For Focus on the Family, I'm Jim Daly.
Down here in the South, we like good coffee that's freshly brewed, warm, fluffy biscuits, and a delicious breakfast that suits your fancy. Like a savory sausage biscuit with egg or a tasty single sausage, gravy, and biscuit from McDonald's. Now, just $2 each. Head on over to McDonald's, where breakfast is Southern inspired and Southern approved.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Price and participation may vary. Available when product served. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
I'm Amy McGrath, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
Mitch McConnell is attacking Amy McGrath on, of all things, 9/11. After the second tower was hit, Amy McGrath was scrambled into an F-18 and spent hours at the end of her runway, waiting to hear if she'd be ordered to shoot down a hijacked airliner. It was the worst 4 hours of her life. Mitch McConnell got himself out of military service. He's the last person who should be attacking any veteran. But he's even trying to say that Amy McGrath supports looting and lawlessness. Listen to 4 veterans who served with Amy.
I know the real Amy McGrath. I served with her in combat. She does not support lawlessness.
If there was ever an example of fake news, it would be what Mitch McConnell said about Amy McGrath.
Amy is in the top tier of people when I think about dedication to this country and dedication to service.
I'm a Republican, and I can tell you that Mitch McConnell is not telling the truth about Amy McGrath.
Paid for by Amy McGrath for Senate.
The federal government provides $150 billion a year to make higher education possible for anyone. Completing the free application for federal student aid, known as the FAFSA, is the first step to getting your share. But an estimated $40 million in financial aid is left on the table each year by Kentucky students. Don't let that happen to you.
Fill out the new and improved FAFSA today. Visit knowhowtogoky.org and join the conversation on Twitter, #KnowHowToPayKY. This message is brought to you by the Pritchard Committee Student Voice Team and the Council on Post-Secondary Education.
When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send the blood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come.
MB's point to ponder for today. Is a good way to tell someone's age by just saying to them, what's a TV guide?
That's a good one. Yeah.
So like the other things that young people don't know, that's a generation away from disappearing. There was actually a magazine that came in the mail called a TV guide. And that's how we knew what was on TV.
Yeah.
And so you can look at a young, if you look at a young person and you go TV guide, they think,
What's that? You push the remote that says
yeah,
guide.
what is that? Yeah, info,
and it pops up on your TV.
Guide, right.
Yeah.
It's kind of been a changer.
I love the videos of when parents hand their children a rotary phone and say, dial this number.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and they can't. They're like, okay, now. Like they're solving one of those mystery mazes you sign up in like the game rooms.
Fox is continuing their premieres tonight, speaking of television. Season 4 premiere of The Masked Singer. Now, I fell out after the first episode of The Masked Singer.
Yeah, it was weird.
In concept, I thought, okay, pretty good. I can see. I'd like to know who's, blah, da, da. But I fell out. There was just for whatever reason. I just didn't like it. But now, a spinoff to the show, The Masked Singer on Fox, comes on tonight right after that. It's the premiere of a show called I Can See Your Voice.
I see dead people.
This seems much more up my alley because what they do is they bring a person out just looking like themselves.
Yeah.
And the panel has to decide whether they can or can't sing based on how they look.
Oh.
Okay.
So this is like going to the store and just looking at a person and deciding that person can or can't sing. Like the famous Rafe Hollister on the Andy Griffith Show.
So,
bib overalls, dirty,
yes,
whatever.
yes.
You think, oh, that guy can't sing. And then he comes in looking like he does. And then he just beautiful voice.
So now we have a game show to show bias and prejudice.
Based upon the way someone looks. Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Well,
But
let's get back to our roots of 1960s and 70s
Misty,
game shows.
it's
people.
okay when liberals do it.
It's all right. What is happening? But we did this on American Idol this season with the guy, the garbage truck rider. Remember, he could sing.
Yeah.
And when Luke Bryan
remember
sat
him.
down and said, "Can you hit this note?" and he was like, "I don't know." And he said, "Well, let's try it. Can you do this?" And he didn't have any musical verbiage.
Right.
Yeah, but we all were like, "That guy can't sing. He doesn't look like a pop star." Yeah.
Today's highlight in history, this date in 1952, President Nixon salvaged his vice presidential nomination by appearing on television to refute allegations of improper campaign fundraising in what became known as the Checkers speech about his dog Checkers. In 63 BC, Caesar Augustus, the first Roman emperor, was born. Lewis and Clark expedition returned to St. Louis more than 2 years after setting out for the Pacific Northwest. That was this date in 1806. You know, when Lewis and Clark got back to St. Louis, they got out, slammed the car door, like, I'm never going cross country with you ever again. It had to be a long time to be cooped up in the car.
And keep your
Of course,
coonskin hat.
You know, in their defense, cars were a lot bigger then.
They were.
You know, the station wagon was the size of a school gym.
Well, I mean, they strapped a piece of wood down the side of it for cosmetic reasons, but it made terrible gas mileage.
In 1932, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia was founded.
It's the truth. Golly.
That would be a great series, Road Tripping with Lewis and Clark. So take the modern American road trip and the things that happen, but then make Lewis and Clark experience it.
Yeah. This is like Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. In 1987, Senator Joe Biden withdrew from the Democratic presidential race following questions about his use of borrowed quotations and the portrayal of his academic record.
Oh,
so if you get in trouble for that, if you get in trouble for that one time,
I gave it back.
Is that okay? It doesn't matter in 2020 now because he already had to get out of the race one time.
What happened was he's done so many offensive things to women since then that we forgot about the plagiarism. We're just on the sneak up on you, gonna grab you.
A year ago today, Greta Thunberg uttered her famous "How dare you" phrase.
Mm-hmm.
How dare you? Birthdays today. Singer Julio Iglesias is 77 today.
Wow.
To all the girls I've loved before.
I don't know if that was Dracula or Julio, but
it's close.
You were in the wheelhouse of your.
You were in Halloween season, so it works. The Boss, Bruce Springsteen, is 71 today.
Now that one stings a little bit, right?
And
wowza,
Jason Alexander is 61 today.
Every time you say his name, I always hear that. I was in the pool.
These pretzels are making me thirsty.
There's so many, right? There's so many.
Or the photo shoot on the Chaise Lounge in his boxers.
Yeah. That was
That
was the Christmas card.
So many Seinfeld
right?
episodes.
But he was flirting with the girl at the photo mat.
Yeah.
All right, kids, look up what a photo mat is. We talked about it earlier in the show. You had to wait 3 weeks for your show. But if you were fancy, you could get them done in 1 hour.
Mm-hmm.
He was trying to flirt with the girl at the photo mat. Come to find out, it's the guy so the guy sent a photo of him on the Chaise Lounge back, shirtless in that same pose, and it was just great. If during this pandemic you young people have not binged Seinfeld, do it.
Yeah.
Find it.
You'll
keep
later.
up with the show a lot better. Watch Coming to America and Seinfeld, and you'll be able to speak our lingo.
Yeah, you won't need it. You won't need an In the Know for Dummies book any longer. 1861, Robert Bosch was born. Mickey Rooney born in 1920. Ray Charles born this date in 1930. 19th was born this date. Let's go to chart toppers. Got a couple of minutes. The Bobettes, number 1, with Mr. Lee.
This is on my 8-track tape I was allowed to listen to.
That one was vetted.
It had been vetted, approved. Prince tape, not so much, but this 8-track was.
That poor Prince tape.
Poor Fluffy and the burn barrel trying to dig it out.
It met the standards of the... so that's good. 1966 was the year. The Association was number 1.
Association of...
My parents were big Association fans.
Were they?
Yeah, I don't know. I remember hearing the Association a lot when I was a kid.
Was it when you were being disciplined?
Mm-hmm. Yes, when I was stationed
here and listen to this
next to the Boogle Basket, having to look at my toys in there.
Very annoying music, right? Listen to this elevator music.
The Boogle Basket.
That is a good punishment. Put your kids in their room and make them listen to elevator music.
Don't you know the Dennis and Sarah Cook children are mad at us today for introducing the Boogle Basket yesterday?
Yep. Just like that time you were going to make Anna watch C-SPAN and she loved it.
Yeah, sometimes things backfire.
Yeah, I want to go into political science. All right.
You never know what you're going to get.
You can
such a good execution, such a good plan.
You can only read your Bible. Hey, did you hear about Lot?
Hey, I was called to preach.
That's right. It's just what? 1975. Ronnie Millsap was number one.
This was always a fun song to sing when you're 7 and people at
Was-
church looking at you like, why are you singing that?
Misty, was that on your 8-track that you were
Nope,
approved
but-
to listen to?
No, but my mom let me listen to it in the car with her. So you picked up the words rather quick.
My mind's home loving.
And then when you don't understand why your teacher says, don't sing that at school. How come?
Because daydreaming is bad. That's why.
Apparently it was the night things that had them terrified.
Well, maybe they just thought if they could crack the code on daydreams, they'd have the rest of it solved.
Yeah, Mr. O was like, let's just get back to EIO.
Let's get back to There Is a Haunted House in Town in the town.
Yes.
The Cars, number one, 1984 with Drive.
Cars.
Dream Lover, Mariah Carey in 93. Dilemma, Nelly in 2002. And Maroon 5, Moves Like Jagger, number one, 9 years ago today. MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today. Be so good they can't ignore you. Be so good they can't ignore you. MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today. Look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow for another edition of our show. For Misty Thomas, for Beej, I'm MB, and now you're in the know.
Powered by Heritage Media of Kentucky, WKHG Litchfield, Kentucky, USA, 104.9 FM, the Twin Lakes Best Mix, K105.